I'm going to show you how to sell on Amazon step by step using strategies I learned to generate over 6 figures with Amazon FBA. Even if you're a complete beginner and you're starting from scratch, or you're working a 9 to 5, you're at college, you're already selling on Amazon, this will be for you. The great part is you don't even have to spend money on courses, which I myself have done. You just need to watch this video as it will explain everything you need to know to make your first £1,000. Could even probably make £5,000-10,000 from this, who knows. The difficult part these days is that YouTube can be very confusing. There's so much information out there, too much if anything. So this is going to solidify everything that you need to know in one place and your one-stop shop to learning. There's also timestamps so you can work your way through it. You can also revisit the video and know where to go in each section. So without further ado, let's get straight into this video and I hope you enjoy. Make sure to like and subscribe and we'll go from here. So what actually is Amazon FBA? Now FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon, because what we are doing is we are buying products on discount and we are selling them for hire on Amazon, and we are using Amazon to deliver it to the customers, deal with customer service and handle returns and so forth. Now within FBA there are actually different business models. So the point that I made about reselling items, the factor is, where do we get the items from and where do we get it cheap enough? So there's 3 sort of different routes to get cheap items, okay? Now, number 1 is called arbitrage, okay? Now, this route to find items and resell items is by going to retail stores. So, for example, going into Smith's Superstore, going into TK Maxx and finding products on discount. Or it's through online arbitrage, which is buying products online, like stores like Argos or Superdrug, finding them cheap enough online to then resell them back on Amazon. So those are the 2 models within arbitrage. Then we have wholesale, which is where we get the items from brands directly. So for example, if we look at Pringles over here, we would work with Pringles directly, get the items cheap enough from them in bulk, resell them back on Amazon. Or we go to a distributor, so something like what we're in. They don't own Pringles, but they distribute in bulk Pringles. We buy the products from them in bulk again, and we resell them back on Amazon. Now, the final method is private label, which is where we create our own brand and then we resell that back on Amazon. However, this does require quite a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot more risk. So I always recommend starting with the first 2. Now, let's talk a bit about how much money you need to start. So in regards to money, you can either start with about £300 to £500 and do the arbitrage models, or you can start with a bigger budget like 1.5k, get taught and do some learning and so forth, and start with maybe wholesale and arbitrage also. However, if you do have more capital, so let's say 1.5k plus, your best bet is actually learning everything through like a mentor or through like a guide. And what you can do is you can then skip all the rubbish on YouTube and you can end up being able to see a bit more success earlier because you've got more money to play with and you can choose which model you want to do. So we are going to go through now how to set up your Amazon account, how to actually start. A lot of people think you just go towards Amazon and set up an account, but that's not what you do. You need to make sure that you set up the foundational aspects, which include a business, an email, and many other things like a bank account as well. So let's get straight into it. And as you can see, we're on this website here called Tide. Now, Tide is very, very important because essentially when selling on Amazon, especially in the UK, you need to set up as a limited company or as a sole trader. Now, what are the differences? Well, a limited company is where you set up a business where the business is not attached to you personally, okay? Whereas a sole trader is attached to you personally, which means it's classed as kind of personal income. Now, what is the difference and what should you choose? Well, if you are working a 9 to 5 or you earn more than 12.5k a year, you should definitely set up as a limited company because tax-wise, it's a lot better. And also it's just a bit more protection for yourself. If you're someone who's probably like 18 or 19 or 20, for example, that's maybe at university, doesn't have a job, you can actually set up as a sole trader because you're not really earning anyway, and then it's fine for you. But I would always recommend start with a limited company. It's just easier in the long run as well. And this actually costs, as you can see, $14.99 to set up. So it's a really, really good fee, especially through Tide. Otherwise, you have to pay £50 through Company's House. So you want to head to Tide and you want to set up a limited company, which I'm going to show you how to do now. So as you can see, this is where we are on Tide now, and now we have to set up a company. However, before doing that, what you want to do is you want to come up with a company name. So what company name should we choose? And a lot of people get unsure about this. Well, keep it nice and simple. The best thing to do is choose your initials. So my initials I'll choose here, and then add something after it, maybe distributors, or I'll put distros, or you could put wholesale if you're going to do Amazon wholesale. You could put retail. It's very much up to you. You can even ask ChatGPT as well, but don't overcomplicate it. Choose a normal name. So once we choose a name, we have here and we can see that it's available to register. So once it's available to register, what we want to do is we want to go and create a email. So we want to go to Microsoft and we want to create a business email. So it will be a normal email, but it will just be within the business name. So zsdistros@outlook.com. Why do we do this? Because we want to separate any personal things from our business and keep it nice and clean and effective. Okay, because when you have emails coming from Amazon and all these things, you don't want it in your personal inbox. You want it in a separate inbox so it's easier to track. So we'll create an email with there, again, something like this at outlook.com, and then create the email. You can even choose at Hotmail or at Outlook. Doesn't matter, up to you. Then once we've created that, we head back to here. And now this is when we fill out all our details. Now, it will ask you for a domain. You don't want to do this. You don't need a domain. So we want to skip the domain. And then we want to agree to all of these things here. And then this is where you put in the email address and your phone number. So we will put that in now. Now, the next bit that you're going to do, you just have to fill out some personal details. So this is for you to do on here. I just skip past that section. It's personal details such as like your address, where you live. It might ask you if you want to use a virtual address. You don't want to choose that. Just put it as your home address and you can always change it later. And then you want to enter your business category. So your business category is going to be e-commerce. So here you're going to choose e-commerce and that's going to be your business category. And then in the bottom left corner, as you can see here, you can actually use a referral so that you get £50 when you sign up. And that referral code is LB22NO. So as you can see, we put the code in and we will get £50 when we sign up and spend on our first product or something like that. So that is everything you need to do in regards to Tide. Like I said, you'll fill out some personal details of your address and so forth, but then choose online e-commerce and you'll be good to go. Now, if Tide doesn't actually work, what should we do? So for example, for some people, Tide might reject you. Now, Tide also give you a bank account as well, which is nice and simple. You get the company and the bank. However, if you do get denied, this is where you will go to Companies House directly and either register as a limited company or as a sole trader, and you'll just register through Companies House. Now, if you do that, you're going to need to get a bank from elsewhere. Now, which bank should we use? Well, any bank, any online bank, Monzo, Starling, Revolut, either one. So start off with an online bank, they're a lot easier to open and we can start that way. Once we have now done that, now we have to actually set up our Amazon account. So we only set up the Amazon account when what? We have the bank account set up, we have the email set up, we have the company set up. Once all of that's done, now we head to the Amazon account and I'm going to show you how to set that up. As you can see, we will head to Amazon Seller Central, which is a website. So we will head to Amazon Seller Central and it will come up with a screen like this where we'll click sign up and it will say get started selling on Amazon. Now, you want to create a new account. Yeah. Now, a lot of you probably already have an existing Amazon account. So you want to create a new account with the business email. Now, what you may have to do is you may have to unlink your phone number from your personal account and link it to this account because Amazon doesn't allow you to use the same phone number. So what you want to do, you might want to either change your personal account to your business email or you create a new account and you just change the phone number, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, when you do this, you're going to get a page that looks like this. So essentially the first thing that you want to do is it's going to ask you, and it's going to look like this. It's going to say business information, like this, and it's going to say business location. Now you want to put United Kingdom and business type. This is where it's very important. You want to put private limited company if you set up as a sole trader. So as you can see here, these are the options and you want to choose privately owned business. Now, if you did sole trader, you choose you're an individual. Okay. Now, next, what you want to do is now, again, just personal details. So put all your personal details in. It'll probably ask you for passport or driving license, something like that, as you can see here. And just fill out all your details with your phone number and so forth. And then next you put the bank account information. This will be your business bank account that you put in. So as you can see, you put the bank account information in here. And then next, same thing. Yeah, as you can see here, this has got United States, so don't worry about this. You'll put something else. and then you put in all the details. And now this is where you have to get to this page. Now, a lot of people get confused on this page. Store name, make it a random name. It doesn't have to be the same as your company. Give it a random name. Now it's going to ask you, do you have universal product codes for all your products? Just put yes. It won't ask about this, I don't think. But if that is, just put no. And for the last bit, are you the manufacturer or brand owner? Put no, because you're not doing private label. Okay, so that's what you'll put. Then you click next. And then now you have to do a identity check. So it will be uploading pictures of your driver's license, your passport, and then it might do like a facial visual check, or they'll do a meeting with you. Now, a lot of the time nowadays, they just do a biometrics check. So you'll be up and running pretty soon. Now, after that, as you can see here, yeah, you can either do a video call or they'll do something else. Once you're verified, it takes maybe 1 day or 2 days and your account will be ready to go. So this is everything that you need to do to set up. And now we're actually going to go through the next step, which is what is a good product and actually analyzing products, finding products, and making your first bit of money with your Amazon account. Because remember, there is also a fee. So I mentioned previously, so far the fees have been about $14.99 for your company setup. Your Amazon account actually costs £30 a month to maintain. Okay, so this is another added cost, £30. So note this down. So obviously we've spent some money, so we want to start making some money now and we want to be as fast as possible. So this is everything to do with the setup. Now let's move on to finding products and analyzing products. So before we actually get into product analysis, we need to actually discuss Amazon listings as a seller rather than a buyer. Now, in order to actually go through Amazon as a seller, we need to start to understand certain things that you would never pick up when buying. So I'm on an Amazon listing right now, and as you can see, I'm going to go through the most key important features and explain them in detail. So the first thing that you really need to actually look at when you're a seller is the title. You need to look at what this product is and match it up with the image just to see if it's pretty similar. However, note that Amazon images are very outdated. Sometimes the image might be old and it might not even match what the actual product is, for example. If so, make sure to just follow the description and the title rather than the images, okay? Because the images can be outdated. But the image is always good just to look at just to see what the product is. But as you can see here, this is a 600 ml. So remember, sizes is very, very important, especially for beauty products. You want to make sure you know the milliliters because if you go and find that product, you don't want to be selling one that's 400 ml instead of 600. And then it's cocoa, so you want to make sure you get the right sort of flavor or whatever it is. Next, very important feature is underneath the title, there should be something here. Now, this will either say visit the store of the brand, which is positive, or it will basically say brand, and then it will have a colon, and then it should say Vaseline. It should say the brand name. However, if it says brand, then colon, and it says Jupiter, avoid the product. It's been set up by another seller, and often they are violating Amazon policies by doing it. It's a ticking time bomb. They're going to get that listing deleted, and you don't want to be someone on there with stock and money left. So avoid that. Next, you have the sales per month. So it tells you a little bit about how many times it's been bought, and this is just good information. But we don't really need to worry too much about this, but it's just a quick eye opener. Now, like I said, next as well, have a look at your item volume, dimensions, and so forth. Any extra detail that's important. Now, the next most important thing is this thing here. Okay, now this thing is called the buy box. Now, as a buyer, you always go to this and you'll click buy now. Okay, but as you can see, this is the box that we actually want to be selling on. So the way it works, as you can see here, this is being sold by ITR Store. And as you can see down here, there is loads of other sellers on here who are also selling the product. Okay, loads of other sellers who are selling it. Now, we want to be the person who is our store wants to be next to sold by. Okay. And the way you get that, various things. First thing, price. The second thing, having this Prime badge, which you will all get if you do FBA. Having some sort of reviews as well, and having a good account health. Okay, those are usually the few things. So this is the aim of the game. When you guys are all asking about, oh, how do I rank and all of these things, and how do I make sure my product sells? Well, this is it. You will sell on this listing, and you will then be another seller on this listing, and then your aim is to try and win the buy box. Okay, and the buy box is shared. Okay, now when you redo our analysis, our product analysis, there's ways to check if the buy box is shared because sometimes one person dominates it all the time and you won't get sales. So you want to make sure that you sell on listings where the buy box is shared, which I will show you previously. Now, the next key important thing, if we scroll down, is this thing here, the ASIN number. Okay, now this is your unique identifier number, and this is what allows you to sell on existing listings. Okay, because you get this number, you put this into your Amazon seller account, and then now you can sell on this listing. Okay, so this is really key. And you can also find a product by just typing this up. Okay, now the next thing is the best sellers rank. Now, what this means is that this is the ranking of the product within the category. So as you can see, this is the 3,000th best product in beauty, 63rd in body lotions. Now, this number here, the 2001 within beauty, you want to make sure that that's pretty much under 120,000 or so forth, because what that does is it means that the product just sells. Okay, anything above 120,000 usually doesn't sell. And then lastly, a key important thing is reviews. Now, why are reviews important? Well, reviews are good for you to actually know what the product looks like. So as you can see here, I think the product is actually changed. It looks a little bit different now compared to the image that I showed you before. So this is what the product actually looks like. Whereas if you scroll up, I'm pretty sure, look, this is the outdated image. Yes, that's why I told you. So Amazon images are outdated. So if you came across this product when you found it and it looked a bit different, well, check the reviews. Okay. And another thing with reviews is it's important to see maybe what mistakes sellers are making. So if reviews keep complaining that people aren't packaging it properly and so forth, or it keeps breaking, then you want to just make sure you're a little bit more careful. Okay. So yeah, that is everything you need to know about Amazon listings. Let's get straight into product analysis. Okay, so before we now get into analyzing products, let's actually discuss what software you need and again, the costs that it's going to attain to your business. Now, the great part is these softwares are very, very cheap. A lot of people try to make you buy softwares that you don't need. You probably heard of Jungle Scout, maybe Helium 10. You do not need these if you are doing arbitrage or wholesale. You do not need them, and they cost too much money. You only need two softwares, SellerAmp and Keepa. Those are the only two, no other softwares. SellerAmp and Keepa are the best two. Trust me, that's all you need. And in total per month, that will probably cost you about £30 a month. Okay. Now, as you can see here, we're on SellerAmp. Now, the great part is with SellerAmp is you actually get a free trial. You can actually get 50% off your first month with SellerAmp, and I will put the link and the code in the description below. So when it comes to SellerAmp, as you can see, if we click on pricing, there's two different offers. Now you want to choose monthly. The first one is getting started and the second one's getting serious. Now, I would always opt for the getting started for most of you here who aren't going to be looking at more than 1,000 products a month. But if you go past that, then just upgrade to the getting serious one. This is for the people who have, quite a bit more money. They're going to have maybe spending more time on it, for example, but 1,000 is probably enough for the first few weeks, especially with your free trial. Then if you do go past that 1,000, you can just get the getting serious one. It really depends on you. So with SellerAmp, we'll go into it in a bit more detail on what it actually consists of and how to use it in the next section. But yeah, price-wise, this is what it is. And the second software is Keepa. Now, Keepa actually costs around £15 a month. It's in euros, I think it's 17 or something like that. Now, Keepa is very, 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 as you can see, I've said it so many times, it's the game changer of a software. It helps with finding products and also analyzing products to the depth. Okay, so you will use Keepa every single time you analyze a product and then also to help find products as well. So SellerAmp is more of like analyzing again. Keepa has finding products. You don't use SellerAmp for finding products. If anyone said that to you, that doesn't really make sense. Keepa is for finding products, SellerAmp is for analysis, and then you'll use Amazon as well. So these are the two softwares, and let's go into a bit more detail in what they actually consist of and how to use them. Now, the last thing is on the top right hand part of your screen here, if we're on Amazon Chrome, what you want to do is you want to go to extensions and you want to go to visit Chrome Web Store. Okay, now on here, what you're going to see is you want to type in Keepa and you want to add it to Chrome. And then you also want to type in SellerAmp. SAS, it will be called SAS. SellerAmp SAS. Sorry, my typing SellerAmp SAS. Again, click on it and add it to Chrome as well, because you're going to see in the next part, it gets automatically added every time you go onto Amazon, which is perfect because everything's all in one place and it doesn't waste time. And we want to be as effective as possible. So these are the two softwares you need. And now let's go into how to use them and how it's going to help us stop buying bad products and actually buy products that sell. Okay, everyone, so now let's get into actually analyzing products using SellerAmp. And I'm going to show you how to do this, what's the most important thing to analyze, and essentially how you can stop making mistakes. So as I've suggested before, you need to make sure that you add SellerAmp as a Chrome extension. So then it comes up on your screen like this on the side of your Amazon as soon as you go onto a product. So every time you go onto a product, so for example, look, if we go off it, and we select this product again, you have Amazon come up, and then what happens is this SellerAmp appears. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go through SellerAmp and we're going to explain what to watch out for. So as you can see in SellerAmp, there's loads of different things going on, so we want to simplify it and make it nice and easy for you to remember. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to check the eligibility panel. Now you need to be logged into your Amazon account for this eligibility thing to come up, and essentially this will either say yes or no. Now it's not a big deal if it says no. All it means is that we need to provide an invoice for a product, and you can watch a little bit more about this in the section that is called gating and ungating, which is about invoices for products. So that one will be fully explained later, but like I said, if it says yes, that's great. If it says no, that's fine. It's just something for us to be aware of. Now next, we have the alerts panel here, and it will tell us if there are any alerts. Now if it's green, that means there's no alerts. If it's red and an alert comes up, it will tell us, and it actually ranks all the alerts here. You can see any alerts on products. Now in regards to alerts, the ones we have to be careful of is private label, IP analysis as well. And those essentially mean where there is a brand owner on the listing and they will essentially kick you off the Amazon listing. And if you see that on a product, you need to basically avoid it. Okay. Now, again, the other ones are variations. All that means is just that there might be different sizes of the product within the Amazon listing. Then you have meltable and size. If it says oversize, it might come up as an alert. Again, that's not a big deal. It just means it needs to be maybe in a bigger box. And meltable, again, isn't a massive big deal. Now, the next part that's very, very important, we have this section here, which goes through our BSR. BSR means the best sellers rank. And as we discussed before, the best sellers rank essentially is the ranking of the product amongst all those products in Amazon. Now, this is the 3,000th best product, probably within beauty. So that's good. We usually want this to be below 120,000, as mentioned before. Now, next is the estimated sales. Now, all this is telling us is how many times a month that this product sells. And again, we just want this to be a decent amount. Even if it's 10 or 15, that is still fine. Because again, don't fixate yourself on estimated sales, because some products can sell fast but have loads of competition. And then you've got products which sell slow but don't have any competition. And you might end up getting the same amount of sales. As you know, Amazon, you're sharing the sales with other sellers. So you'd rather be on listings where there's a nice balance. Next, we have our max cost. Now, this is really, really important. What this says is this tells us the maximum we need to get the product for in order for it to meet our return on investment criteria. So as you can see here, this £3.44 meets my ROI criteria of 25%. Okay. And in order for us to actually get the SellerAmp like this, I will show you in a minute how your settings can be like this and so forth. But yeah, then we also get to see these things: break even, profit margin, and profit. Now, next, what you want to do on SellerAmp is this part here where you actually get to calculate how much profit you're going to make. So if maybe you're buying 10 units, you just put 10 in here and it will tell you the amount of profit that you're going to make for the product, for example. So this is SellerAmp for you. And now I'm going to show you the settings that you need to know. So when it comes to your SellerAmp settings, they're going to look like this. And what you want to do is, firstly, your VAT settings needs to be as not registered. Then in regards to your minimum profit, put it at about 50p, and your minimum return on investment around 25. Now, none of you will have a prep fee probably, and any of these other fees you won't have. And then what you want to do, you want to turn this on, you want to turn profit on, you want to turn profit margin on, ROI, break even. And then in regards to your other charts, what you want to do if you scroll up is you want to click SaaS panels, and you want it to look like this. So you want quick info to be on ranks and prices, alerts, charts, profit calculator, variations. You don't need Google Sheets on, notes and tags you don't really, or discounts, but you can leave it on. Turn VAT settings on, or actually if you don't turn VAT settings on, that's only for sellers who are VAT registered.
European marketplaces, turn on as well. Offers, lookup details as well. Seller Central, make sure to have that on. And then buy box analysis is very, very important. So buy box analysis also is important because if we go back onto the product, remember we spoke about the buy box previously. SellerAmp also shows you about the buy box share. So it has a pie chart like this. And what you want to see with products that you sell is you want to see a nice even pie share. If someone is dominating it and getting the biggest portion of the pie, you want to be careful with these products. You want to avoid them. You won't get many sales. You rather want to see something where the pie is all even because you're then likely to get sales on that product. Okay, so let's actually go through Keepa now. So the way Keepa works, again, it will be at the bottom of your screen. Now, Keepa is very much going to tell us a little bit about the price history of the product, the seasonality, as well as how many times the product sells a month, but more over a long period of time, and then the competition, okay? So as you can see here, we have 3 graphs, and they do those few things. First thing, price history. The second graph with the yellow line, the monthly sold, and the bottom line, the competition. But like I said, it can show us over a long period of time. So when we're selling products, we want to have a look at the year, and we just want to see and spot trends, okay? Now, on the first graph, it can be a little confusing. So just turn off everything apart from the buy box, okay? Because this is going to tell us a bit about the buy box price. Now, as you can see, we'll run our sort of cursor along, and we can see what the buy box price is on average. Now, it's pretty much ranging between about £7.99 to kind of £8-ish. However, between kind of February and then November, it was selling quite low. So as you can see, this product might be a little bit inflated at the moment. However, there are periods where it lasts for a month or so, selling at 840, and it's back at 840 again. And one thing to note is there's always a relationship between this top graph and the bottom graph. The bottom graph is the number of sellers. Now, as you can see, when there are lower sellers, obviously the price goes up. When there's more sellers, the price drops. So as you can see here, when we had 8 sellers, the price was higher. When we had 10 sellers, the price was higher. When we had lower sellers, the price was higher. So this is the type of product where you may just want to wait it out and you end up getting more profit, compared to when there are loads more sellers on, the price often drops, okay? Now, in regards to the second graph, the sales per month, as you can see, it sells pretty consistently. All year round is pretty much selling at 1,000 times a month, apart from here where it dropped off. However, pretty much always 1,000. So it's pretty consistent type of product, this one is. As you can see, the price range is like that. And like I said, when you see price ranges that go up, down, what you want to understand is that as long as the price is at a good price for around a month, that's fine. So as you can see here, it's pretty stable for about a month or so. You can make good profit off that product within the month. Doesn't mean you have to stock it up again, okay? So have a look at kind of what the current price is now. Have a look to see, you know, how often does it stay at that price? As you can see, look, it stays at this price every month or so. Yeah, it does drop off, but every month or so, every one other month, the price does come back up to this. So you could take account of that, and every time you see that sort of the sellers start dropping off here, you could maybe look to buy the product if it's in stock. Okay, so that's an example. However, most products will pretty much be similar price all year round, and you just want to jump on them and look to sell them. So all you're really looking for, you don't want to see any product that goes all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. Similarly here, the bottom graph, you don't want to see there being crazy amounts of sellers and then drops off again, then crazy amounts of sellers and then drops off again. You want to see some consistency. Now, apart from that, that is really what you want to use Keepa for as a beginner when you're doing sort of online arbitrage and so forth. As long as those graphs are like that, then you're good to go. Then the last thing is you want to check the data and the buy box statistics and check kind of the buy box share. So it shows you the buy box share in a bit more detail. You just want to make sure that no one has more than 90% of the buy box, okay? As long as there's people sharing it like this, even share, you're good to go. So that's pretty much everything for Keepa, for you guys to learn a little bit more about. There's a few more features and stuff, but as a beginner, you don't need to overcomplicate things. This can definitely help you just, you know, sort of make sure that you're not buying the wrong products. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through a bunch of good and bad products in the next section, and you'll be able to pick up when to avoid products and when to actually stick by them. Okay, everyone, we are now going to be going through an example of a good and a bad product. So we went through SellerAmp and Keepa briefly using sort of the basic foundational knowledge that you need to analyze products. So let's put it into practice now and see whether these products are going to be good or bad. So the first product we've landed across here today is this product here, which we could buy for $25.49 and we can sell for about $45.88. So it's giving us 30% plus return and about an 18% profit margin with £8 profit per unit, selling almost 100 times a month, which is really, really good. However, we need to look a bit deeper into the product now. So what we need to do is we need to head to Keepa and we need to have a little look at the price history. So as you can see here, we're having a look at the price history and the price of this product is slightly inflated. So as you can see right now, the price of the product is at about 45. However, most of the year, it's pretty much between 42 and kind of £40. And even sometimes it's all the way down at 30. So the price is a little bit inflated right now. Why is that? Because as we mentioned, the offer count, which is the number of sellers, has gone down. Okay, so the offer count is quite low at the moment, hence why the price has gone up. However, if it doesn't return, we can expect the product to maybe drop to about £40. Okay, now if we put that in here, £40, it would be quite difficult for us. We would only be doing a 15% ROI. So this is a bit of a risky product, this one. It's still good. I mean, even if you sell it at 42, it's still 21% return, which isn't bad, but you have to try and be quick with this and potentially not buy too much stock. Yeah, because as you can see, likely the price is going to drop, or you just avoid it in general. So a product like this, although it might look good, if we look deeper into it, it might be something to be careful of because the price is inflated. So if we were getting it for a bit cheaper, then fine. But, you know, clearly here, it's not making sense for us. And the other thing to always check is the other sellers. And as you can see, if we look at the other sellers, well, someone's actually selling at £25. I don't know if that's an error. But there's quite a few other sellers on here. They've all got low stock, to be fair. So one sign is if sellers have a low stock, you still might be able to sell at like a higher price because they're going to sell out. So keep that in mind as well. But yeah, this product is probably rated maybe like a 5 out of 10. You could go for it. The worst case, the price does drop and you still make money. But it's not some sort of like game-changing product that's going to guarantee you make crazy return. It might make you a return or it might drop down slightly, but you'll still be in profit. Next, we have this product here. Now, this product is a prime example of products to avoid. It looks really, really good, 600 times a month. Let's say we can get it for about £2, and that meets our max cost, or £1.79 it was. That is quite good. So the ROI is really high, profit is high, the sales is high, the competition's quite low. If we look here, there's only 2 or 3 sellers, but we need to check the data and the buy box statistics. And as you can see, Amazon are dominating it 100% of the time. Even if we check all the other dates, it's more than 90%. So this is a product we would avoid. It also comes up with the IP alert on SellerAmp. So again, this is a product to avoid. Next, we have this product here. Now this product on the surface comes up with the PL alert. It looks good because it sells quite well. Again, low competition. However, the brand underneath the product name is wrong. So this says Epiched. However, it's Beauty of Josian. And again, only one seller on here who's dominating the buy box. So again, this is a product we'd be careful if it comes up with a PL alert as well. So we want to avoid this. And finally, we have this product here, which comes up with a dangerous goods alert. All this means is that you just need to register for the dangerous goods program on Amazon. It's pretty easy to do. And then it just means you just ship it a little bit differently. As you can see, it sells about 50 times a month. You might be eligible to sell it. Now this one's quite good. We were able to get this for £20.62. So already, as you can see, because we have such a big ROI right now, even if the sale price does have to drop down, we're still probably going to make quite a lot of profit. Whereas the last one, we were only just at our 30% criteria, which meant any drops in sale price, we are now not making as much as we want. So this is why you should always go for products with higher ROI. I always recommend my students in our group coaching and in our mentorship that I always kind of show them how to kind of go for products that are going to be 50, 60% return, because what that means is that even if there is competition or even if the price does drop, we will still be profiting quite high. So that's one sort of little trick that I speak to them about and something that you guys can implement as well. Now, if we scroll down again and we look here, the pricing of this product is pretty stable. It's pretty much between kind of £42. The lowest it was £39.80. But it kind of sits at £42 regularly, and it even previously was at 48. Now, likely it's probably going to range between 42 and let's say 39 at the worst case. What are we going to be making on this product? Let's say $39.99. Still really, really good. So it's interesting. We still actually are making quite a lot of profit. So it's £8.30 profit, which is great. And this would be a really, really good product to buy. Now, what we would look for here, if we scroll down, we want to check the number of sellers, click live. As you can see, they haven't got a lot of stock either. Only one guy has quite a bit of stock here, but the rest haven't got a lot of stock. FBM sellers, we don't really need to worry about too much. But yeah, there's a calculation that I kind of do in regards to working out how much stock to buy. Again, that's something that I go through with my students in a bit more detail. We have a few tricks in regards to those. But the basic one that I can share for you guys is just have a look at the other sellers' stock. You want to make sure that, you know, they haven't got crazy amounts. Someone doesn't have crazy amounts of stock because they'll often kind of price war with you. And then you want to just count how many sellers are selling sort of competitively, so selling around the buy box. So the buy box is £42. We've got like 1, 2, 3, kind of 4 sellers selling around that. So realistically, you would divide the sales per month here by the number of sellers that are competitive. So that's like a rough estimate. So you could just estimate to buy 10, test it out, see how it goes. But this is something that you guys will probably want to learn on the go. And you want to learn from experience, because a lot of you are here testing and testing and trying out your first product because you guys have low capital. So this is something that you're going to figure out how many units to buy as you go. So yeah, this is the sort of differences between good and bad products. Remember to take on some of those pointers that I gave you. And yeah, now let's move on to the next section, which is going to be going through gating and ungating, which is about invoices. So make sure that you stay tuned for this part. So let's discuss gating and ungating. Now, what does this mean and how does this apply to you? Well, as you can see on SellerAmp, we spoke a little bit before about the eligibility feature. Now, for a lot of you new sellers, this is going to say no most of the time on the products that you find. Now, what this means is that this means that you have to submit an invoice for your product, okay? Now, this is how it works. I'm going to break it down slowly. What you need to do is Amazon are going to ask you for an invoice that shows 10 units, remember that, of the brand that you want to sell, not the product, of the brand that you want to sell. And that invoice needs to be a recent invoice. It needs to have your company name. Everything needs to match, okay? And essentially, you will get that invoice, submit it to Amazon. Amazon will approve you. And then from that point on, you won't be asked for an invoice again to sell that brand, okay? So for example, if we wanted to sell this brand, Color Essence, essentially, or that's how you say it, I don't know. But essentially, you're going to need 10 units of this brand. So it doesn't have to be this product. It just needs to be the brand. Okay. Now, how and where do we get that invoice from? A lot of you are probably, let's say you found this product, okay, but that place that you found it from doesn't give invoices. Well, you're going to say, oh, but then I can't get it. Well, no, that doesn't matter. It's a separate thing. Okay, so if you want to get ungated, look at it as different to buying the product. The ungating process is something completely different, which is to get that approval, and then you can buy the product from anywhere. Okay, so you just need to get that approval first. So we need to try and get this brand from somewhere that is going to give us approval. So where do we get the product from? So depending on the category of the products, we get it from different places. So if it's a beauty product, the best place to get it from is a place called Notino or a place called Sephora, okay? Now these places give invoices, and all you have to do is you have to just find the product here on there. Sorry, the brand, I keep saying product. Find the brand on there, but it's not on there. So what do? We look elsewhere. So maybe Sephora. Is it on Sephora? No, it's not. So you may even have to buy it from the brand directly and ask them for an invoice. That's another way. Okay, so there's many, many ways you can do this, but always double check, am I going to get an invoice? Okay, now the last place that you do it is you get it from a wholesaler. But the issue with the wholesaler is that you have to then sell the products or do something with it. However, if you get 10 units from a retailer, you can refund the items once Amazon have approved your invoice. Okay, so just to make it clear again, what you need to do, you get 10 units of the brand, okay, from a place that gives invoices. You buy the 10 units, you submit the invoice, and then you can refund it afterwards. Okay, now at the same time, you can buy the however many units of the product that you are going to buy. So for example, this one, if we were going to get 5 units, we can just buy 5 units as well simultaneously, so that by the time that we get the invoice, we do the ungating, we have the stock ready to sell once we get approved. Okay, so you can do them both at the same time. And obviously the 5 that we buy, we're not going to return those, we're looking to sell those. Okay, so this is how gating and ungating works. And just make sure that you go to the right places. So everyone, now is the time where we are going to go through sourcing products, so finding products. Now I'm going to be showing you 2 methods that are quite sort of straightforward in order to go through products. Again, I'm not showing you the most advanced methods on Amazon, so there are more, but these are generally 2 that you can get started with to start earning a decent amount of profit before maybe then you might have to, put some more money into your learning and so forth. Remember, this video is perfect for those of you that have, less than 1K and you want to build your money up with Amazon FBA. And then when you get to the 1.5K, 2K mark, then you can go and get mentored. Then you can go and, learn some of these more advanced methods to scale up a bit faster. Okay. But this is going to be perfect for you. And I'm going to show you the 2 different methods that I used in order to go from £300 to 2K in pretty much 2 months when I started Amazon FBA. And I found these products through this method. Now, the first method is one that I don't see a lot of people talk about, but they do, but they don't do it properly. And that is reverse sourcing, which is basically going onto websites of suppliers and then copying those products back onto Amazon, okay? But where people don't sort of be innovative is where the websites they're going on are so generic, okay? They're going on websites that everyone goes on. Superdrug, Boots, iHerb, you might have heard of that. Notino is another one as well. Places everyone goes, okay? Now what you want to do is you want to go onto websites and think a bit more seasonally, okay? So what season are we in right now? Well, when this is being recorded, we are in the summer season. So me, what I used to do is I used to type into Google, or I used to try and look for products that are going to be a bit summery. So I would look into Google and maybe type in top 10, as you can see, it's already come up. Sunscreen, so let's say, or let's go for sunscreen retailers UK. Okay, and what's going to happen, we're going to come up with quite a few sunscreen retailers, I guess. Okay, so as you can see, here are the different sunscreens. So what you could even do is you could start by looking at the different brands of sunscreen, then you can type up the brands onto Google, and then different websites might come up. Okay, so for example, if we look onto something like here, like Glamour magazine, we want to focus on sunscreen, let's say, to start with. And then what you would end up doing is you'd end up building yourself a catalog of websites. Okay, so Superdrug does come up. However, if we look into the independent, we've got a few of these products. Now you want to make sure that these products are on Amazon as well. So you've got Hawaiian Tropic. Okay, so let's say we've got Hawaiian Tropic. And we type in Hawaiian Tropic sunscreen. Now, what do we get? Well, we have Hawaiian Tropic have their own website. Superdry comes up, Boots comes up. I know it's a bit generic. Savers, okay, Savers. Oh Fellas, okay, I've never heard of them. Just My Look, loads of different places. So Oh Fellas, I've never heard of. Why don't we try them? Well, what we're going to do is we have this website here now. And what we're going to do, just to see, we're going to copy and paste this product and we're going to put it back on Amazon. So let's go back onto our Amazon page. Let's paste in our product. And let's see what comes up. Now, as you can see, I think this is the product there. Now, this is selling for £6.70 and it sells really, really fast. Now, how much are we buying it for? £9? Waste of time. Now, one thing you need to get good at when you're doing manual sourcing is understanding that you need to get the product for pretty much half the price than what it's selling on Amazon. Okay, so always just eyeball it. Don't go and do analysis on a product that it's not even half the price. Okay, so remember not to do that. Go back here. And what we want to do is we want to have a look into special offers. So look at best-selling products or look into the special products and maybe sort by the highest discount. Okay, so you need to get good at online shopping. Yeah, if you've done online shopping before, get good at it. Well, learn how to do online shopping. Or if you're a lot of you girls and mums out there who like doing online shopping, this is going to be well within your expertise. So good. Another product here, Sisley Paris, £9.16. So it's discounted very, very heavily. So you ideally would love to see this sell on Amazon. So let's see. And as you can see, this product is not even on Amazon. Double check anyway. So Sisley Paris is the brand. So double check whether this is on there. Because sometimes if you just type in something like that, it might not come up. See if Sisley Paris is on Amazon. As you can see, not really. But see if maybe this comes up then. And again, you're just getting good at copy and pasting, going on to Amazon, going back off Amazon, looking through the websites. Okay, so as you can see, it actually does come up as £38. Now, make sure that you find the right listing. So this is number 20. This one is, I don't know which one we got. We got number 32. So we got number 20, we got number 40. Is this one going to be number 32? Well, you want to double check. So it's actually showing you all the different colors. And I've just seen 32 here. So 32 is here. Now, this is actually currently unavailable. It says number 32 when we click on it. Now, what you want to do in this instance is this is where you do your analysis. You could actually just sell this product. It's currently unavailable, but you could be the person who actually stocks this up. Okay, and you can just check your history to see whether the product sells and so forth. It's saying that it sold maybe 5 times. So you could perhaps buy 5 units, okay? And the profit is so high that it actually might make sense. So again, it's loaded. And if we're getting it for £9 and we buy 4 of them, wow. Yeah, the return on investment is crazy. Even if we get 4 sales, we would have made £80, which is great. There you go. You might have made your first £80. Okay, so this is an example of manual sourcing. And now what do? Well, we've found this website and then we bank that. So we've now found a website which we can use to find more products. Okay, now there's also that, and then there's another method, which is essentially now that we've found a product, let's go on to the one that has other sellers. This is where we then do something called storefront stalking. Okay, now storefront stalking is where we go through other sellers' Amazon stores and see if we can find any products. So for example, here is another seller and we'll click on his store. And what we can do is we can actually look to have a look at his storefront. So his store has a bunch of different products. What you can do is you can actually now go through some of these products and you're going to source the other way. So what you're going to do, let's say this product, you're going to copy and paste this product and search that into Google. And now you want to go and find this one for a cheap enough price. Now we need to get this for about £13. And as you can see, make sure it's the right product. It's the 75 ml one. Is that the right one? That's 30 ml. So you need to find it for 75. And again, you just search through Google to see if you can find it. Now, what is this also going to do? This is also going to give us access to new websites. So we've come across All Beauty. We've come across Notino. My Origins look fantastic. So now you've got a bunch more websites that you might not have known before that maybe they do beauty products. And now you can maybe start searching through them. So this is how you actually do it. It's not very difficult to find suppliers and find websites. You just need to be brave enough and spend enough time on these websites to find products. Too many of you just want to find something straight away and find it quick. It's not going to happen. It's a long process. You need to do it every single day. So these are the 2 sourcing methods that you need to know. Like I said, there are some more advanced methods as well. And even within these methods, there's a few little tips and tricks you can do to speed up the process. These are things that I kind of go through in the group coaching and the mentorship a bit more. But give this a go. You will still be able to see some success with it. And just put in the time. Like I said, if you haven't got the money right now to be doing coaching and mentoring, you have to accept that you have to put time in. Okay. But this is why I say those of you that have got the time, you don't probably want to be spending 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day doing this. You want to speed things up a little bit. Okay, so that's the difference between the two. But go and give these methods a try, see what you find, and we'll move on to the next part, which is going to be now your first product. So all of you can actually benefit from this. where can you get your first product from, I'm actually going to show you where you can get it from. And then better, I'm actually going to give you your first product as well. So now we are going to get your first product. And this is going to be really, really good for all of you that want to get some profit from Amazon FBA with the help of myself. Thank you for all watching this video, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel, because in order to get the product, you're going to sign up to this website. You have to make sure that you're subscribed, and make sure to leave a comment once you have signed up, because then I will send you the product. Okay, now what you need to do is you need to head to this website called Qogita.com, and this is where you will create an account. So you need an email address, your full name, phone number, create a password, and then the most important thing, you need to add the code SSUNI, because what this is going to do is this is going to give you £100 off your first product. And what does that do? That basically guarantees that you're going to make £100 profit, because it gets taken off the amount that you spend, and in that way you'll make that profit difference when you sell back on Amazon, and I will provide you with that product. Okay, now once you have set that up, now you want to include your shipping country, which will be the United Kingdom. Then it says VAT number. Now, as you can see, it says optional. Okay, so it doesn't mean you need it. Now it says company name, so you put in your company name, company registration, and company number. Okay, so this is why you need the limited company. Okay, so you'll fill this out, and then we'll head to the next step. So when you get to this point, now you will choose that you sell on Amazon. You will put your annual turnover, which will be less than 100,000. The employee count 1 to 5. The year the business was founded, so most of you 2025. And then when did you start selling health and beauty products? Just put I haven't started yet. Then you click all done, and you're ready to sign up, and I'll show you what the website looks like. So now that you've created an account, it will look like this, and this is where then I will send you a product, for example. So let's say I sent you a product. I sent you this Versace product, for example. You will then basically find the cheapest price. As you can see here, there's different suppliers, and they have different prices. Now, one thing with Qogita you need to understand is there's a minimum order value. So each supplier has a different minimum order value, which means you need to order that much amount in order to make profit. But that's fine, because most of you have maybe 300, 200, or £300 plus on products. And in this way, you don't have to find tens of products. You just find one good product, buy a certain amount, and spend £300 and get it for the price that it is. Okay, so remember, at this point now, you are ready to get your first product in. This is where you need to make sure that you subscribe to the channel. You make sure that you've liked this video, and you comment done. So comment the word Qogita done or something like that. And essentially, I will then reply to your comment, and we will get you your first product in. Make sure to comment done. And then what you can do is I'm going to message you to DM me on Instagram. Okay, so DM me on Instagram at s.suniversity, and on there I can send you the product, because I can't send a link on YouTube, so I'll have to send it on Instagram. So make sure that you have that, and you can reach out to me there. I'll check that you've obviously subscribed and whatever, and if you have, then boom, I'll send you that product, and that is how you're going to make your first £100 selling with Amazon, which is the plan going forward for all of you.
Now I'm going to take you through retail arbitrage in practice and showing you how to actually do it. And this is one of the first stores I actually came to myself. I've made tens of thousands in revenue with Amazon FBA in Smiths, to be honest with you, £1,000 plus in profit. And this store is really, really good for a beginner to come in and start scanning products, seeing what you can find. It probably is maybe towards the 10,000 mark, actually. I've got to just double check my stats, but this store is very, very good, and I'd recommend you come to it. So let's get straight into what you're going to do when you get into the store and how you can actually start making some money. So in order to do retail arbitrage, we need our best friend SellerAmp, and especially the feature, which is the scan. So as you can see on my phone here, we have the scan feature, and as you can see here, it starts scanning all the products. And what we're going to do, we're going to get the barcode of a product. We're looking for the stuff, remember, that's reduced in price. Firstly, always look at the reduced price, always look at the 50% off, the 40% off, the clearance items. They're much more likely to have profit than something that's just standard price, okay? So always look for, especially in Smiths, we have these yellow sort of reduced price features. So we'll get scanning away. So all you do, let's take this product, for example, it's reduced, and see how much they're reduced by. This one's reduced by £2, £1. So check for one that's reduced for quite high. So we're going to get this one here, which is reduced price. And what we're going to do is we're going to scan the item. So all we do is we get the product. And as you can see on the back of the product, there's that barcode there. And all you do is you get SellerAmp, put that product down, we get SellerAmp, and we scan the barcode like that. And as you can see, the product will come up on Amazon. Now, if it doesn't, then all we want to do is we want to search it up manually ourselves. Now, sometimes what happens is the product actually doesn't come up. So you can actually type it up by name, but don't get disheartened if something doesn't come up. Not everything is going to be on Amazon. So just accept it and move on and keep scanning away. When I used to come here, I'd be here for maybe an hour, 2 hours, and it's a volume game. You need to keep scanning, keep going, not get disheartened. Bring a friend as well. So I always used to come with 2 or 3 friends or one other friend, and that really helped as it allowed us to up the volume. Someone checked that side, someone checked that side, and before you know it, someone might have found something, someone might have not, but it really, really does build up. So now let's actually try and see if we can find a product that actually does come up. So think about what actually sells, what you could buy as a kid. That's what I used to do. So WWE was always something that I would buy as a kid. So go towards the things that you think will sell, and a lot of the time there will be value there. So let's just start scanning some of these WWE toys. Roman Reigns is quite popular, so let's see if this comes up. And as before, as you can see, we have the scanner app. We scan the product, and as you can see, it's actually come up. So it will come up with a product, and this is where we look at the cost. So as you can see, the cost on this is $19.99. However, SellerAmp is telling us we need to get it for $17.27 for it to meet our criteria. So you have to remember that as well. And the sales on this is unknown. So we're a bit unsure about this product. The best sellers rank is also quite high. It's 140,000. However, we can look to see what are the other sellers selling. As you can see here, there's other FBA sellers on here. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3 FBA sellers. The buy box is shared as well. So it's not too bad. And if we were to maybe buy like 2 of them, we probably make £10 profit, let's say. So you have to just decide whether that's valuable and worth it for yourself. Me personally, I would try and look for stuff that's going to bring me like a 30 or 40, 50% return on my investment, because I want to use my money wisely, especially when you got low money, use it wisely. So that's retail arbitrage for you. We're using SellerAmp. We're going to stores. Try and find things like retail parks, which have multiple stores as well, because this can help with time efficiency. You can head to multiple different stores. Use SellerAmp, it's your best friend. Scan what you think will sell. Look for the reduced to clear items. Look for the stuff that's on offer, and you should walk away with some profit. Spend an hour or 2, bring a friend. That's how you do retail arbitrage. And let's head on to the next section where we'll go into some other things in more detail. Okay, so now it's time to ship your products off. How on earth do we do this? How do we actually ship our products? And how does the shipping process even work? Well, what you do is you create a shipment via Amazon. Essentially, UPS will come and collect the shipment from you. Then that will go to Amazon, and from there, that's when you don't have to do any work. Okay, so up until this point, you still need to do work. I'm going to show you how you do it. So let's say we have this product here, and we bought 10 units. So we're going to put 10 units of this product, going to be ready to pack it. And what we want to do is we want to print the SKU labels. Now, what we want to do, we want to choose the 27 up labels, 63.5 times 29.6. And you need to buy the labels from Amazon. So you can actually buy the labels from Amazon. Let me show you where you can buy them. So literally on Amazon, if you type in 27 labels per A4 sheet, and you want to buy Smith packaging, this is the one here. And this will be a really, really good one to buy. Literally just buy these and you put them in your printer. I'm going to show you literally how to do it physically. I'm just showing you on the screen right now, but I'm going to show you literally me doing it so that you guys can do it. And then the second one you need is 2 labels per A4 sheet, because this will be for the later one. This one again. So you need this one here, and you'll see why we need that, because that will be for your outer label. This one is going to be for your products. Pack the units, print off the labels, and then we get to this point here where we say whether it will fit in one box. So if it fits in one box, you just fill this out here. If it doesn't, then you put multiple boxes will be needed, and then you just tell them how many boxes, and then you fill out all the information here. So let's say in this instance, we're going to say everything will fit in one box. Now, if you make a mistake here, I'm going to just show you what happens. Sometimes Amazon will give you like a warning. If they put a warning, you can just ignore it. So here it might say, yep, it doesn't meet the requirement. Don't worry. They're just going off some AI stuff. So just literally click confirm and continue. And as you can see, we're past this bit now. Now, if you ever decide you want to stop doing it, you can click at the bottom, delete workflow, as you can see. But what we want to do here is we want to choose 26th, which is the Monday, for your ship date. Now, usually what will happen is it will say UPS and it will say like a amount. So it takes the money for the label directly from your Amazon account. So what you want to do here, you would just click pay and then you choose accept charges and confirm. However, in this instance, this is a dangerous good product. Now, it's interesting I actually chose this one because what this means is that instead of shipping the item through UPS, you just ship it through someone else. So you can choose someone else. So let's say we choose DPD. Then what you need to do is you need to go to DPD and you need to get a DPD label. Okay. Whereas when the product is normal product, so it's not a dangerous goods, it will just create the label for your Amazon account. Okay. Whereas if the product is a dangerous goods, you have to go to the DPD website, create a shipment through there, and get a DPD label. Okay. So that's the two ways to send a shipment. You'll either have a product that's a dangerous goods or a non-dangerous goods. Most are going to be non-dangerous goods. However, for the Qogita product, if it's a perfume, for most of you are going to be buying, it's going to be a dangerous good. So what you need to do, you select a non-partnered carrier, so maybe DPD, and then you go to DPD's website and you create a shipment there and you pay for the label there. Okay. And then you just choose a delivery window and press continue. So that is how you do a shipment. And I'm going to show you what to actually do in terms of prepping the items physically. So watch out for that now. Okay, cool. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to show you what labels you need. So you're going to need these labels, which is 27 labels on a sheet. There's 9 each column. And all you do is you put these labels into your printer. So wherever the paper bit of the printer is, you literally just put it inside there, for example, and then close the printer. And what that will do is then when you click print on your Amazon Seller Central, it will come out with the labels. And this is what you're going to put on the product. So I'm going to show you now how to put it on the product and which situations to do it. So let's take a product like this, for example, which is already in a box. Now, most of you might sell beauty products or products like creams and shampoos. If it's already in a box, all we have to do is we put a label, we take the label off here and we just stick it on the most irrelevant side. So anywhere that the customer doesn't need to see, maybe the part of the product. Don't do it on the instructions. You could put it over the barcode or you could put it over anywhere else. So I might just put it on this side, which is blank. I'll just put it there and I will label the product like that. Okay. Now there's a second situation where a product might be a liquid or it might be loose. So in that situation, you put the product in a poly bag. So I'm going to show you what to do now and then how to label that. So as you can see, this product here has no seal. It can spray straight away. So what you would want to do is you'd want to put it into a poly bag. A poly bag is like this. It must be clear if it's a liquid. If it's a multi-pack, so for example, if you had 2 of these or 2 of those boxes and you needed to put it in one product, you could put it in a bag as well, but it doesn't have to be clear. Okay, and what you do is you put it into the bag and then you label the bag. Yes, you don't label the product, you label the bag. Okay, and then that counts as your unit, so your product. And that is step 1 of labeling the product. Now we're going to get on to how to then label their box to then send it off. So I'm going to show you what you do now. So now you need to have yourself a box. Now you could actually use the same box that the product arrived in, or you can go down to your sort of local post office, or you can go down to any supermarket, corner shop and ask them for spare boxes. Then you want to put your product in a box. So you put the product in the box like that. And then you could cover it with maybe like some bubble wrap or anything just to make sure that the box is nice and secure. Then you get your tape and you're going to tape up the box. And then this is where you're going to measure the box. So you have to measure the dimensions from there to there and up as well. And what you're going to do is you're then going to put that into the Amazon bit that I showed you before and then calculate the weight. So I actually use a scale like this. I just stand on it, it weights it up, and then I would put the box on top of the scale and then see how much it weighs. Now, once you've done that, all you need to do is then put those dimensions in, like I said, and then we're going to close the box and tape it. And now we're going to label the outside of the product to then get it ready to ship to Amazon. So here is our second label now, which is this double A4 label. So there's 2 labels on here. And on one of these labels is going to be your Amazon label. And the second one is going to be your UPS label. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put it straight into the printer as before, put it into the printer. It will create the label the box anywhere. So we can put it there, we can put it at the top, whatever it is. And then we label the box, schedule your collection with UPS so that it can go to Amazon nice and effectively. But that's everything you need to know about shipping, all done there for you step by step. So Amazon FBA wholesale in practice. We're actually at a local wholesaler right now. Remember, wholesale involves buying products in bulk. Now, I mentioned if you are going to start wholesale, make sure to learn. Me, myself, I paid someone to learn, multiple people to learn wholesale. It's a game where you can't afford to lose money and you can't afford to be doing the wrong thing. It's very easy to think you're doing something with Amazon wholesale. For example, finding suppliers and contacting brands or emailing them. but a lot of the time you'll probably be doing it wrong and wasting so much time and also money on products that are just going to flop. So make sure that you know what you're doing. If you are going to start Amazon wholesale, remember your budget's looking at 1.5k plus, because you want to have money for learning and then also your first brand order. And I'm going to speak a little bit about tips and tricks with Amazon wholesale in the next section, where I'm just going to show you what you should actually be looking to do and what you need to do to set up to be different to everyone else, and how you can go from there. So when it comes to automation of your business now, there's different ways to automate your business. And I've done all of these things, so I'm very, very qualified to show you how it actually looks in practice. So the first way you can automate your business is through the packing. So as you know, when you are selling on Amazon, you pack the products, then Amazon or UPS come and pick them up, then it goes to Amazon. Well, you can actually get a prep center. So a prep center is handled by a third-party service. I use a prep center called Your Prep Mate. It's a very, very reliable service with great prices. I'll leave the website link here. And these guys are very, very good. Now, what they do is they pack my products for me and send them to Amazon very, very fast. So when you are starting to scale up and you've got more products coming in, you want to go on holiday, you're busy, the prep is done for you and you don't have to worry about it. And all you do is you pay a fee and you just factor that into your profits. Second way of automating is hiring virtual assistants. Now, virtual assistants are people, they're literally people who will work for you, mainly in the Philippines or in Pakistan, for example. They'll work for you at a very, very low rate, so maybe about £300 a month for 8 hours of work. And what they are doing is they are doing the tasks that you don't want to do. So, for example, they might be doing product sourcing, they might be doing admin for you, emailing, calling, loads of different things that can help you scale up your business if you're working a 9 to 5 because you don't have time to work on your Amazon business all day. Or if you're trying to scale up the business and you need to be doing other tasks, you get a VA as well. So VAs are very, very good. Again, if you actually want a VA in your business right now, you're already selling, just make sure to drop me a message or on Instagram, because I actually have partnerships with agencies and so forth who find VAs for you, so it makes your life a lot easier, and actually train them for you, because remember, they're a real person, so they need to be qualified as well. And those are pretty much the two ways of automating your business. Staff is the bigger picture, and the way to hire staff in your Amazon business, which is actually needed, is through VAs and a prep center as well. So those are the two things, and those are the people I recommend for getting them into your business. So if that is something that you're looking for right now, go ahead and do it. If not, it's just something to think about in the future, for, you know, when you are busy and maybe Amazon's becoming difficult, you just hire a VA, or you can't do the packing, you get a prep center. And you can even do that right from the start. If you're someone with money and high capital and you want to get this business ticking, but you haven't got time, well, then automate straight away.
So thank you for watching this whole course, and I hope you have learned so much about Amazon FBA and how you can actually start making money today. Now I'm going to go through a little plan for all of you that have watched this. And after this, we're going to follow up with some student sort of journeys so that you guys can see the reality of this. You know, I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything to you. I want to show you the reality of running an Amazon business. It's not easy. There involves some work, but I would like you all to see the possibilities of what they can reach. Okay. Now, in the next 1 or 2 months, or let's say 3 months, let's say a 3-month plan from here, how are you going to operate? Now, what I would say is those of you that are starting with £500, less than 1.5k, your first aim, month 1, remember, go through the learning, get comfortable with sourcing, get your Qogita product in, and while your Qogita product is selling and making you some money, be sourcing every single day, sourcing to the point where you find more products. You need to set a goal. So your goal should be that you want to go from maybe having £500 invested to looking at your bank account, your Amazon bank, and seeing about £1,500 or £200. Once you get to that point, you should then continue to work the way you're working and putting in that capital and reinvesting and growing from there. Now, if you feel like you can't continue on and you need more knowledge, which you probably will, if you get to 1.5k or 2k with this knowledge, congratulations to yourself. That shows that you've worked hard and you've operated in circumstances where you might not know everything, but you've still managed to make some money. And that shows resilience, and that also shows that you truly want to do well with this. If you get to that point and you're still struggling, that's where then you want to apply for some learning. So you can apply for the mentorships in the link in the description, and we can get you scaled up from there using that capital. But like I said, we want to work with what we've got right now, and we want to get to a 3-month or a 6-month point where we've got about 1.5k to 2k to play with. We understand Amazon. We feel confident about Amazon. We know how to do shipments. We know our keywords. We know how it works in practice. We just need a bit more guidance. So that's what I'd say for all of you here. Work towards that. And then from there, the future is looking bright for all of you. And this is how I started my journey. I did it myself till I got to the 2K mark. And at that point, that's when I learned. But because I had the foundations behind me, that's how I scaled to 6 figures in 6 months. And that's how some of these students you're going to see have done it also. So thank you all for watching this Amazon course. Remember to watch this back. You can watch this back anytime. Ask questions as well. Join my TikTok lives. Ask in the comments. Anything that you need help with while you're going along your journey, make sure to tune in and subscribe to the channel and watch more. But I'm going to leave us now with some student journeys and show you the different student journeys of students who have done, as you can see on here, 25K sales in their month, students who have been doing 5K sales, students who are doing £500 in their first month. So loads of different students and their results, their circumstances, where they came from and where they are now, their advice to you guys who are just starting. Make sure to watch that because it's going to be very, very beneficial. And I will catch you all towards the end of the video.
So, hi everyone today. I'm excited to introduce Alex, and you might have seen him on TikTok as Alex FBA. And Alex was one of the students that came and started Amazon FBA, and he's absolutely smashed it in his first month, doing almost 25,000 in sales. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's about that.
25,000 in sales, which is amazing. But I want to hear from you on your experiences, how you found everything, how, the mentorship help, for example, but how you yourself found and navigated through all of the challenges that exist with Amazon FBA and what advice you could give to new sellers. So just introduce yourself based on what I've said, or if you've got anything more to add.
Yeah, no, sweet. Thanks for having me, firstly, Zach. Yeah, my name's Alex. So I actually used to work for Amazon for a couple of years. Was doing a few side hustles and decided that I wanted to try and escape the 9 to 5. So took the plunge back in June and left my job and went all into FBA. So whilst I was made that decision, I thought it was best to try and reach out, get as much knowledge as I could from other people. So I found Zach's page, really sort of enjoyed Zach's content, and I guess sort of transparency from someone who started as a beginner on FBA and then working their way up, and I really liked Zach's content. So yeah, dropped him a message, reached out. We did a bit of mentoring, didn't we, around sort of bit of OA, bit of wholesale, and I think for me it was great just to have yourself as like a sounding board for any of those like beginner questions and just those sort of tips that you might not have any idea as a beginner, and it definitely helped me. And then in terms of my own journey, I think, like first month is gone much better than I thought. Obviously, 25,000, it's a really good number first month. I think my advice would be, I guess, like for me, I think my preparation phase before ordering was a massive part of it. So like reaching out to yourself, doing that mentoring with you, Zach, not only with yourself, but I had one other for a slightly different side of Amazon. And then also just sort of absorbing much content as I could and really practicing sourcing and nailing the process before placing that first order, I think was a massive thing. I think sometimes you can rush into it as a beginner seller, you can make mistakes, whereas actually taking that caution, taking that step back and just holding off for a bit can definitely then, sort of have its benefit later down the line. I think like second bit of advice would be, look, everyone has different points of capital they start with, and it is all relevant, but I think it's about being comfortable to part with your capital as well, and almost, see it as money, see it as numbers, but you're sort of following a process. So if you're having to spend, a few thousand on stock, as long as you've done the research and it's well thought through, and the data's there behind it, don't get too bothered about parting with that 2,000, become comfortable with that. And I think that's where you then see that growth.
In terms of obviously your confidence at the start, so we've got, let's say, a seller who hasn't even started at Amazon FBA yet, a seller who's just come across this page, for example, or even a seller who's looking to scale. How was it down to the mentoring that gave you that confidence to think, okay, all I need to do now is just apply what I've learned and kind of give it a go? Or was it sort of just you knowing yourself that you can make it work, or a bit of both?
I think, definitely like a bit of both. I think FBA from an outsider perspective when you first start probably seems really complex in terms of everything that goes into it. But I think the process that obviously successful sellers like yourself do and other people follow, the process is actually like fairly simple. You've just got to sort of put the time in to learn it and have the practice. So I think, yeah, definitely the mentoring 100% helped me learn that process. But a big part of it was just the self-belief.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
self-belief, confidence, and then having that. What was actually your first goal with FBA? Obviously, you did 25,000. What did you actually want to do in your first month?
First month, I probably expected, I think for the capital I was putting in, maybe like 4, 5 thousand. And even that I think was in my head was a bit of a stretch target. So today, yeah, to do what I did first month was crazy. And like it's worth noting, obviously, like there was still some mistakes in there, like that 25,000. I think it came out at around sort of 12% margin, which is lower than what my target was, but it's good because almost I've made some mistakes within that I'll never do again, or it's going to improve my sourcing and my sort of my purchases next time. So then hopefully that future months, even though it could be a similar sales volume, is actually better for my business.
Wholesale or online arbitrage? If you would have to give advice to a new seller, what would you choose?
I think again, it's all sort of relevant to the person starting and how much you've got to invest into FBA. Personally, I think if you've got the sort of 500 £1,000 mark, definitely start with OA. I think it really gives you like a good sort of sense of selling on Amazon, the process of sending it in, sort of adding listings to your inventory. You get a feel for Amazon just as much as you do from starting out with wholesale, but obviously the risk to your capital is a lot less. Um, what I would say, if capital's no object, or you grow your OA pot to a point where you feel like you can invest more, personally, I would go with wholesale because you have less risk of the price tanking. It feels more long term and more strategic when you find a decent product and build a relationship with a brand up. It's something that potentially after a test order you can just carry on reordering. And it effectively becomes hands off the wheel, which I don't really think with OA it can ever be hands off the wheel because you're constantly having to source.
But
Whereas
yeah,
with wholesale, you do, but you almost can, once you've found that winning lead or that winning supplier, it's a case of putting it to the side. Yeah, being proactive with your reordering, but then you can focus your attention elsewhere.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's really good, and it's great that you did really well in your first month, and hopefully there's more to come, and there's more levels to the game with Amazon. As you know, there's always more to do. But yeah, just to sum up your experience based in SS University, how would you sum it up just to finish off?
Yeah, honestly, it's been great. Like for anyone sort of contemplating joining, and I know there's a lot of people out there on the platforms that sort of offer some sort of mentoring or closed off group. And I think from my experience, Zach's group is great for just like being completely transparent, completely open. No one's sort of like gatekeeping tips and tricks. Like everyone's really open from their learnings. And as a beginner, you just need that. You need that platform where you can ask those questions that we all asked when we first started and get, a really, really constructive feedback sort of
I
pipeline.
mean, you've done so well. It's a case of actually kind of joining my sort of journey as well. And that's what I like as well. The fact that you've done so well. I'm not going to kind of keep you as a student. It's like, okay, Alex is ready to go on to the
Yeah,
big
100%.
work as a team, which is always what I want to build like a massive community. People are growing together, people are learning together, and
Yeah, 100%.
there's enough for everyone. Yeah.
And I think as well, like some groups, they can be very much like, you pay your membership fee and the people who run it or the people who put the content out there aren't really too involved. It's sort of like, oh, visit this guide or watch this, and they sort of brush you off in a way. And they don't really want to get to know you as a person. Whereas yourself, Zach, like no, you like you said, you've always sort of been interested to like grow with your community. And like you've just said, I think me and you potentially can sort of start working together now because we know how each other works. You know that my sourcing method comes from yourself, so it's like it's a two-way sort of like working relationship. And I think with FBA, building your network is a really important part. So that community is brilliant for that.
And last one, how would you sum up how FBA has almost changed your life? I mean, it's a strong word, change your life, but if you really do think about it, you're sitting here now in Portugal rather than working for Amazon. So how would you kind of sum up just quickly how FBA has actually had a positive or negative impact on your life?
Yeah, 100%. So I think I'm still a long way off where I want to be with FBA. However, I have to remind myself I've only been doing it for a couple of months, and to be where I'm at now and feel like I have the freedom to work from wherever I want, when I want, with this business model, and see the output from that input. I think with FBA, it's like any business, but FBA especially, like the more you put in, the more you get out. And I think that's what I'm seeing now. And it feels so rewarding compared to something like, my last 9 to 5, where you don't necessarily see that. And doing it for yourself is an amazing feeling. So yeah, anyone contemplating starting, even as a side hustle and then eventually leaving, just do it. It's the best decision I've made.
Well, thank you, Alex, for sharing your journey. And yeah, we hope that you continue moving on to bigger and better things and hitting that 100K in sales a month mark when I'll kind of get you on a call again. But yeah,
Yeah, cheers, and yeah, thanks again for obviously all your help with it. Yeah, anyone watching, definitely reach out to Zach. He's top man. He knows his stuff.
perfect. Thank you very much.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today it's all about my student Chris, who started Amazon FBA with £300, and I've got a surprise for you on his results right now. Stay tuned. If you're someone that was in retail, someone who goes to university, someone who has a low budget and wants to see what you can achieve with Amazon FBA, then make sure to watch this video. So let's get into it. Let's meet Chris and let's hear his journey. Nice to see you again, Chris.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, man. So tell us, why did you start Amazon FBA? What was life like before you started?
Well, life was like I was trying out a few different side hustles, but it wasn't really working for me. And then I just stumbled across Amazon FBA. These times I was just working full-time at my job. Before uni, I took a gap year, and then I just saw one of your TikToks, and I just decided to just take it from there and message you on Discord, and yeah.
So let everyone know how much you started with and why you decided to take the risk and go and start a business like Amazon FBA.
Well, I started with around £300 because I initially heard that you could start with obviously a low budget, and what pushed me kind of to scale from this kind was just the hard work, just seeing all the more profitable products. I just wanted it to be successful mainly, and yeah.
And obviously a lot of people start Amazon FBA with a lot of money. Not a lot of people start with a small budget and actually see it through. What challenges did you face when you had a small budget, and how did you kind of overcome this?
Well, I had to just be a bit selective with products. Sometimes I wouldn't meet the criteria as in for certain discounts, free shipping, to be in order to get the products at a certain price, to be able to sell them and make a good return on my investment. And I couldn't really do RA. Instead, I had to just do OA. Mainly everything was online, and yeah.
So then why did you decide to join SS University out of all of the ones or communities out there, for example?
Well, initially I didn't know too much about Amazon FBA or the community, and I stumbled across SS University on TikTok. So I looked around on the Discord, looked at everybody interacting with each other, and then I personally messaged Zach himself, and then we just had a conversation, just going back and forth, just talking about my current situation and how Amazon would be suited, and found out we lived near each other. And then I decided to obviously go on and take on his mentorship, and yeah.
So tell us about the first sale. How did it feel, and what did it make you kind of realize about online businesses and Amazon FBA?
So my first sale was Haribo's. I was selling these at a loss because I wanted to get ungated on the subcategory, that being groceries. And although I sold it at a loss, it was just the satisfaction of obviously making my first sale and realizing this business model is real.
And then from there, how did your kind of first month go?
So after selling the Haribo's, the next products that I got in being beauty products and obviously sunscreen and all of that, they led me to obviously have my first 1K month in 3 weeks of Amazon.
Amazing,
and yeah.
So with a limited budget like yourself that you started with, how did you handle reinvesting and scaling? Because obviously every little bit of money kind of helps and counts, and when you haven't got too much, you do have a bit more of a tighter criteria. How did you deal with that?
So obviously being more selective with units, so picking units that generated me a bigger profit, also keeping all of my money into the business as well, and just constantly putting in more money from obviously my job at the time, and just constantly working harder to just find new products and making sure that I could always just replenish my inventory and just keep up my sales.
So in terms of finding products, sourcing products, obviously beginners, they do struggle with that. How did you, one, find products, and then two, what was your criteria to getting to where you got to and getting off your feet?
So using the leads from the Discord, I went onto the websites where obviously the leads were from, and then from there I just went into numerous amounts of sections, finding more and more products that might have been on offer, clearance, and just did that. And also looking at storefronts, finding profitable products that other people are selling. And also the criteria that I aimed for was products with 30% ROI that sell roughly around 100 times per month, so my inventory wasn't stuck in Amazon, and also just making around £1 profit. And yeah.
How did you deal with losses, for example, as a beginner with not too much capital, to go off? What was your sort of strategy around that? A lot of people fear losses at the start.
Well, because I was quite selective with obviously what units I was bringing in, and obviously from the learning from what I was taught, I didn't take too many losses at the beginning of Amazon. Instead, the money that I had, obviously I used some for the mentorship. Obviously I sacrificed some money for the mentorship, but instead of that, I managed to gain a lot more, obviously with the proper education and training and strategy for myself. And yeah.
So I think it's really inspiring to hear your journey, because obviously you didn't have the luxury to go full-time straight away. You were uni, working a job, low budget. How would you kind of advise people in a similar situation to you? That was almost a similar situation to me when I started as well. But what advice would you give to all of those types of people?
Just time, managing your time carefully, making sure you schedule your day. So if you have a morning shift or a PM shift, make sure you schedule enough time to pack off and obviously send your shipments for the next day. And also being selective with your products, being picky. I can't stress enough, just being picky and making sure you're getting products that will get you a good return, and that obviously you can get your money a lot quicker from Amazon back. So yeah. And also giving Amazon time as well. Obviously you're working a job, or you might be at uni, and then obviously constantly putting in money, and whilst you're working, is just giving it time, seeing how you grow each and every month, coming back, sourcing as well, making sure you're picking and packing products and then sending it straight away, and just give Amazon time, because the rewards that you will see at the end, maybe 3 months in, 4 months in, you'll be happy with.
A lot of people might think it's risky to actually invest into a mentorship or invest into a group at the start. Would you say that it's necessary to do so, especially with a low budget? What would your take be?
My take would be just invest into your learning before you go into something, because the chances are if you go into something not knowing what you're doing or just free riding it, you're just going to take much more losses. Myself, before I started Amazon FBA, I made sure I researched it and everything about it, everything about the community. And obviously joining the community, it helped me a lot to understand obviously what type of business model it was and how it would be well suited for me. Yeah, just invest into that learning, go join communities, free communities, get as much as you can. Ask obviously people who are more experienced sellers in that community how their journey was, any advice and tips, and it will just help you in the long run if you invest in your learning, because you won't take a lot of losses in the beginning. And
yeah, and then you stay motivated as well to some extent. And I also believe in whether it's investing your time into free material or investing your money into a mentor, either one, whether you prefer one or the other, but one has got to give and one you've got to do. One thing I wish I did at the start was invest into my learning a bit more. I had to invest a lot of time and then took a lot of losses. So it all kind of connects together. It's up to you to decide, but I would always recommend, like he said, to just learn from someone with his free info, networking or sort of mentorship. So reflecting on your journey now from a £300 investment to now 5k in sales in a month, what would you kind of say has been your biggest lesson that you learned, or something that you just want to reflect on and just open up with?
Giving it time. At the beginning, obviously I think I went a week without sales. I was obviously doubting myself, but obviously I knew in 3 months time that the sales screen would have changed completely. And fast forward to month 4, this month October, hitting 5k in sales, just mainly just I just gave it time and I just saw the rewards. Was consistent, just worked hard with my sourcing plan, sending shipments off the same day, getting them to Amazon, dealing with any queries or anything that Amazon has to throw at me, and just giving it my best and just staying motivated throughout the 4 months. And yeah.
So you've absolutely smashed it so far. What are some future goals for you? What are you looking to do next?
So after hitting a 5K month, I'm definitely aiming to hit a 10K month. Also hit possibly 100K in sales, becoming VAT registered, leaving my job as well, so making Amazon full-time, and rewarding myself in the future after all of this, and starting obviously eventually wholesale also as well, and doing wholesale properly full-time. And yeah.
And you also are documenting your journey on TikTok as well, which is amazing. And I believe it's just Mizu FBA.
FBA, yeah.
Make sure you give that a follow. We'll attach that there. Just Mizu FBA. Make sure to go and give him a follow on TikTok and watch his journey. And hopefully we're all rooting for you to smash it and hit that result. So that wraps up the end of the video. Thank you very much, Chris, for coming.
Of course, man.
And coming to speak to us. And it just goes to show you can really build something meaningful, even with as little as £300, and just investing in your learning. Look at where he is now. You know, he's still admitted he's still got more to do, but he's helped get off his feet. His situation has changed and he feels much happier and more improved and more fulfilled. And if you want to be similar to Chris, join the community, join SS University. I'll leave all the links down below. Feel free to fill out some of the forms, join the Discord community. Make sure to follow me and him on TikTok, and keep watching the journeys of all the Amazon sellers, which one day could be yourself. So everyone, in today's video, I'm going to run through how my student made his first 10K a month with Amazon FBA. And we're going to run through everything that he did, all the things he learned, all the challenges that he faced, and how you can do the same. So before we dive into any details about how my student Cedric got this result and hit his 10K month, let's meet him. Cedric, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, friend. How are you?
So tell us a bit about yourself, bro.
Yeah, obviously my name's Cedric. I'm 20 years old. I'm currently a finance degree apprentice and I've been doing FBA for around a year now.
So tell us a bit about how life was before you started Amazon FBA.
Yeah, so life before FBA, I was currently in sixth form, considering going to uni, but I'm currently doing a degree apprenticeship now. And I just wanted to find ways to make money online, really. Just trying to find how to make, a couple extra $100 a month, because obviously I would just be relying on my paychecks, which obviously wasn't really comfortable for me at that stage at the time.
So how did you actually discover Amazon FBA, and why did you decide to join SS University?
So I discovered FBA around 2022. Obviously, as I said before, I just wanted to start, making money through a certain side hustle. I obviously bought a course from a certain influencer, which was quite expensive, to be honest. And unfortunately, the information that I was given about, FBA wasn't good enough. So I kind of failed in my first year. And obviously I felt like giving up because obviously I wasn't given the right guidance. Didn't have the right mentor, to kind of push me to become successful in this kind of side hustle. But then obviously I came across you. I found you through a TikTok and I was like, why not, to be honest? Obviously sent you a message, I think through email, and then just got started from there, really.
What were your initial expectations when you joined?
I didn't really have much expectation, to be honest, because obviously being kind of scammed before by someone through FBA, I was kind of expecting the kind of same thing, but I still wanted to give it a shot, give it a second chance, because I can see how a lot of people were making results through FBA. But obviously fast forward to now, before I wasn't really making any sales when I started, couldn't even make my first sale, but fast forward to now, I'm starting to make around 10K in revenue.
So fast forward to your first sales, why did you start with online arbitrage instead of like a wholesale or private label? And how much did you actually have to invest, obviously doing this as a side hustle?
So I started with online arbitrage because it was the most easiest to kind of set up with. Didn't need a lot of capital to start as well, which was quite useful. And it just gives you an insight of what, how to start selling really on Amazon. So I started initially with around £200. Obviously use that to go through online stores, retailers, come into stores as well. So I did a bit of resale arbitrage as well, to kind of invest that money to therefore resell on Amazon as well.
Obviously at the start, a lot of people struggle and talk about like finding products and finding websites. Like how did you navigate through those challenges? How did you actually find products and things like that?
Yeah, so obviously at the start, trying to kind of source for different products was kind of hard because again, there's like millions of different websites, stores out there, and it's hard to find kind of the right one to find the right products to sell. But obviously with your support and guidance, and through the Discord, we've obviously created a sourcing plan to kind of guide not just myself but other sellers as well to find the right products, source on your own, to therefore obviously sell on Amazon. So obviously with the support from that, I was able to kind of look for products at different retailers, websites, shops, and then also find products for myself as well to sell.
And think outside the box.
Yeah, exactly.
So in terms of sort of like workflow and profitability, how did you find that in terms of differences between online arbitrage and wholesale? What were the two, or a couple main differences with those?
I'd say with online arbitrage, obviously the ROI compared to wholesale was very high, was higher in fact.
Yeah.
But in terms of kind of trying to look for deals, especially with, doing a job, trying to look for deals, kind of sourcing was quite an issue. So obviously stepping into wholesale was the big difference for me. And obviously in terms of the returns, wholesale can, generate greater returns than online arbitrage, because obviously you can start then to replenish the products that you find.
So we obviously discussed sourcing as something being difficult as a new seller, but what were some other things that you struggled with and how did you overcome them?
I feel like the main things I struggled with when I started were kind of getting used to Amazon software, because obviously as a newbie, as a new seller, you need to kind of start selling to kind of get it really. So that was one thing. In terms of listing products as well, does take a bit of a while too at the start, but once I got the hang of it, it was pretty much really easy to just list products quickly as well. And also I'd say Amazon's policies, because they do have a lot of rules you kind of have to follow when selling. But obviously with your support and guidance through the Discord, I was able to understand everything and therefore sell really. So
now you saw some good results quite fast with online arbitrage, and then you obviously decided to scale to wholesale. What was it for you to decide to change from that business model to wholesale? Why did you go about doing that, and what kind of steps did you take to do so?
I feel like with obviously online arbitrage, again, with your support and guidance, I was able to scale quite quickly. I was able to generate a lot of income from, the start of Amazon FBA, to therefore transition into wholesale. Obviously wholesale, you do need quite a lot of capital, but the returns for wholesale can be really, really good, which I liked. And I feel like I was ready once I, had that amount of capital ready, which therefore obviously made me transfer into wholesale instead, to therefore grow my business. So,
what were the kind of two main things you noticed in terms of differences between online arbitrage and wholesale? Let's say, for example, profitability and sort of workflow as well. What were kind of the differences between the two when you switched?
So obviously in terms of profitability, with wholesale, as I said before, like it can generate, really big returns, obviously depending on the product. I'd say with wholesale, you're able to kind of replenish the product, certain products way more than you can do with online arbitrage, because obviously I had less time, obviously while working, to kind of look for certain deals, kind of source a lot through certain websites and shops. But with wholesale, if you're able to get, quite a good product from a wholesaler, you can therefore replenish and keep on selling it.
So a lot of people talk about like suppliers when it comes to wholesale, and a lot of people have issues and they come to me, they might even come to you as well and say like, I struggle to find wholesale suppliers. How did we go about finding our first products, our suppliers and things like that? What was sort of how we navigated around those challenges and how you did?
Yeah, so what I was taught was to kind of look for the products first instead of the supplier, because it'll be easier. So I looked for certain products, and then obviously the suppliers will come off the back of that.
And how did you sort of like go about contacting those suppliers? A lot of people are unsure about what to do. They kind of freeze. And how did you navigate around that?
Yeah, honestly, just picking up the phone, obviously calling suppliers, just to see, talk about their products, if I'll be able to like obviously, work or do business with them, or just sending literally an email. So
now you just spoke about like calling suppliers, contacting suppliers, finding products. This is a lot of stuff to do alongside your 9 to 5, which you're doing. You also have like another business I know that you're doing. How did you manage everything? A lot of new sellers struggle, or they get overwhelmed by all this time that they need to put in. What was the main drive for you, and how did you manage to kind of keep going?
Obviously, not gonna lie, it was very, very hard, obviously balancing everything. Obviously again, with my 9 to 5 job, I kind of have to do more of the work kind of in the evenings, after work. Obviously again, balancing was very hard, but I kind of had that urge that I wanted to kind of, create, like make income from another kind of side hustle. I'd say if you have that kind of determination and will to do something, then you'll be able to do it really.
So did you sort of create like your own routine, a specific like planning thing, a schedule when going about balancing everything?
I'd say at the start I didn't really have a plan. I kind of just went all in, because obviously balancing everything was quite hard. But then it did get to a time where, stuff was getting difficult. And then what I decided to do was speak to, people in the group in a similar situation to me, to get kind of support and insight into how they balance what they do. Also with you being at uni as well, you kind of gave me that support. We made a plan of how to kind of, balance everything and work everything out. So
now a lot of new sellers struggle with managing their inventory, shipments, And that's even as a beginner seller when they're doing a couple shipments, maybe a week. Obviously, you scaled into wholesale. You were doing some pretty big shipments, having orders sent to your unit, your house, etc.
Yeah.
How did you manage that as well? If you could give advice to new sellers.
Obviously, again, it was hard managing, but obviously through your support and through the Discord, I was able to kind of manage my inventory through like an Excel spreadsheet. So every time, obviously, I ordered products that would come to my house, I would be able to kind of, put that in an Excel spreadsheet, maybe talk about the quantity, unit price, the profit, etc. Just to keep track of, everything I have. So. Yeah.
And you use software for that as well with sort of your inventory, your profits. Obviously, you mentioned profits.
Yeah.
Do you use software for that as well?
Yeah, so you use different software such as like SellerAmp, Keepa, that we use just to, see the profit from a product that I want to potentially buy. So.
And obviously, do you use Sellerboard as well for sort of profit? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Sellerboard was really good. It was kind of like an updated Excel version.
Yeah.
Because it literally gave you everything. Once you connected it to your seller account, it gave you all the information that you really needed to kind of keep track of your inventory. So.
And what advice would you give, again, to new sellers who are struggling to send shipments on time, struggling to keep track of profits, just because even on Sellerboard, you have to fill out your profits as well. It's not just it does it all for you. You still have to fill things out. You still have to kind of keep track of invoices. How did you manage to do all of that?
I'd say, obviously, initially it was really hard. Obviously, again, balancing everything, but I just literally had to force myself to do everything. So in terms of like sourcing, sending off products, I kind of just forced myself, even when I didn't want to, because obviously I decided to start this side hustle, and obviously if I want to see a great success, then I'm gonna have to be disciplined. So yeah, that's advice I'd give to new sellers: just to be disciplined, stick at it, and then you'll reap the rewards at the end.
So just to finish off, I want to ask you, if you could go back in time and start again, what are things that you would do differently? Any like sort of regrets or anything that you would change if you started again?
I wouldn't say any regrets, but I feel like, obviously I don't regret really failing in my first year, because obviously I've learned a lot from failing, and that's obviously brought me to where I am now. And I feel like keeping track of invoices is something I would have changed, because, Amazon can pop out of nowhere just to ask for an invoice for a certain product.
Now, motivation and focus as well. How did you stay motivated, stay disciplined when the business wasn't performing? A lot of people don't speak about with Amazon. Sometimes you do have dips when you go like VAT registered, for example, and you're not prepared, or all of these little things. How did you stay motivated? How did you stay focused?
I'd say in terms of obviously starting the side hustle, was my aim goal was to make, a second kind of income. And obviously with 9-to-5 money, I knew it wouldn't really fulfill me in the long term. So I think just, being determined, staying motivated, keeping at it was the main drive for me. I'd also say, again, with any business, you're not always going to see great results maybe every month. So I also had that in mind that maybe some months will be bad, but I knew other months would be really good as well.
So if you had to give 3 top tips to all FBA sellers trying to hit their first 10K month in sales or their first 100K, what would you say to them?
I'd say my 3 top tips would be just really the first one being like just doing the little things every day, whether that be just updating your Excel spreadsheet and just keeping track of your inventory, etc. I'd say my second thing would be obviously just setting short-term and long-term goals. I feel like that's one thing I kind of needed to do earlier, which obviously I'm starting to do now. So just maybe every start of the month, write down a list of goals that you have that you want to achieve for the end of the month, and in terms of long term, maybe the year end. And my last advice would be to align your expectation with how much you're putting in, because I feel like same with me, I was a culprit with new sellers. You're kind of expecting big straight away, but if you're able to put in a lot of work, then you're going to receive bigger results. So
yeah, the less you put in, the less you get back.
Exactly.
I feel like a lot of people treat it like a side hustle. They want 100K, 300K results per year. Obviously, we both saw that when you treat it like a side hustle,
you get side hustle results.
And obviously you were actually my first ever student. Yeah. So what would you sort of sum up the mentorship as? How did you find it? How was it in terms of everything?
Yeah, so obviously at the start I did say my expectations wasn't as high because of what I've been through, but I feel like having that community there is really good, because we're able to support each other when we get stuck on things, and I'm obviously able to support other people as well, and also just getting to meet you, getting to meet my mentor, showing that you actually care about your students is a really big thing for me. I say the last thing is obviously it's been a year. And you're still teaching me, because with some mentors, they kind of leave you after a few months really and forget about you, but it just shows that you care really. And in terms of like the quality of the teaching is literally top notch. You obviously update us with a lot of stuff. We have them weekly calls with the rest of the group, and yeah, so I'm loving it really. So yeah, from my experience so far, obviously I've enjoyed it. It's been worthwhile. I'd definitely advise new sellers people who want to start a side hustle to definitely join the community, because it will benefit them, especially if they do want to make money outside of a normal job.
Yeah, definitely. And if any of you are new, any of you are already selling and you want that extra support, you want to scale, you want to learn, I'll leave all the links in the description. So now we are back with Cedric again, one of my students, but this time we're actually going through his journey about Amazon wholesale. Before you saw it was a bit about online arbitrage, how he got to doing 10K a month with Amazon FBA. Now he's actually scaled up with Amazon wholesale and doing those 5-figure months a bit more consistently. And we're just going to speak to him about his advice and how this can help you when you have started and how to scale a bit more. So Cedric, tell us a bit about how Amazon wholesale has been and any advice you would give to anyone who wants to start Amazon wholesale.
Wholesale's been really good. It's a very big step up from OA and RA. A lot of bulk quantities you're ordering in, and the profit margins are so much higher. So I've enjoyed it personally. Any advice I give to people obviously starting is don't be afraid to spend money, because obviously it's a big jump from going from OA to wholesale. So don't be afraid to spend money, because if you're going to spend money, you're going to make money in the end. So yeah.
Yeah, you spoke about profit margin. You mean like overall profit in
Yeah,
general.
yeah, exactly,
So obviously you're buying £1,000 profit per
yeah.
product rather than £10, for
Exactly,
example.
exactly.
Yeah. Now, in regards to Amazon wholesale, it's quite difficult to get your head around. How would you recommend someone goes through learning Amazon wholesale? What things should they avoid? Because a lot of people do generic things. How would they avoid, difficulty with finding suppliers and all of these things? What would you advise, like a new seller, for example?
For a new seller entering into wholesale, me personally, I did mentoring. So I feel like learning how to do wholesale first before going, diving into it would be beneficial, because there is a lot of tips and tricks that you need to obviously start. And yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot more risk involved, I guess,
Exactly,
with Amazon
exactly.
wholesale. And me myself, I did mentoring as well, to the point where I learned Amazon wholesale, and it's actually Cedric is now going to be helping within our Amazon wholesale mentoring and Amazon mentoring. So you will see Cedric with his TikTok page as well, documenting his journey, and he'll also be joining us in the learning as well. So for those of you that are going to get involved, he'll be one of the teachers as well inside, helping you guys get to where you want. And he's living proof that another version can do it as well. I'm not just something crazy and special, and I've done it. He's done it as well. So yeah. Okay, we are now back with another student interview, and this time we are with one of my students called Sane, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his story and how you started, man. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about how you got into Amazon FBA for all of the people that don't know you.
So I've been looking into FBA for a long time now, so I must have started like looking into it last November. I joined some courses that weren't really like insightful, they didn't really provide me with value. And then I came across the boot camp, right? So you were going, what was it, the boot camp for a week?
Yeah.
I learned a decent amount, got started with the basics. So I started with £300, that was my first order. Then I saw proof of concept, saw my first few sales, and injected 2K more. And yeah, man, I've learned along the way. I've also met a lot of people. I've built a bit of a network with other FBA sellers, so we communicate with each other and learn from each other at the same time. Also, if I have any like questions I need to ask, Zach's always there for me. He's just like a text away.
Yeah, 100%, man. Obviously, yeah, you started with a free bootcamp. So a lot of the people that are going to be watching this video are going to be touching on probably the knowledge that you touched upon. So, for them that have joined this and they've probably watched through this, what challenges do you think, that you could relate to that they might go through, and what advice would you give to them? Because they're going to be going through a similar situation to you with starting with probably like 300 to 500
Yeah,
pounds,
yeah.
watching this material. So yeah, you go for it.
I'd say first thing is get a job for that side income if you haven't got a job already.
Yeah.
So you need that money to start. Obviously, the more you put in, the more you get out with FBA. It's like a numbers game. Second thing I'd say is use the Discord. Like ask the questions because there'll always be people, even myself, I'll always like any one of you text me, I'll always try my best to help you. There are loads of people in the Discord that are just a text away and like you can run into a headache and try and solve it yourself, but you won't really run into too many headaches because the steps are pretty clear. But it's inevitable, like eventually you might run into an issue. But all the issues, like someone's already gone through it, so you can just ask them.
Yeah,
So
and even on
like,
TikTok lives and stuff like that as well. Join up the TikTok lives and ask the questions there as well.
yeah, so I'd say ask questions and get a job. Those are the two main things I'd say. But yeah,
100%, 100%. And in regards to obviously where you are now, just to inspire a few people. So again, a lot of people on this video are going to relate to you. So how can you kind of show them, does FBA actually work? Does it work
yeah, so it
from you?
does. It's real. Like people say it's a scam, it's this, that, it's oversaturated. It's not. Like it genuinely works. And loads of people like go off of what they hear. They might hear like, oh, my uncle said it's oversaturated, or this guy had a bad experience, or just this, that. Like you just need to try it. Once you take that first step yourself, you'll see. And you won't look back. After you take that first step, you're in the game now. And it is really a game. It's like a game of numbers. It's like
Mm.
you invest a pot of money and you just keep growing it. You keep flipping it until you get to the point where you can take out a couple hundred here and there, and you won't even notice because like so much money's coming in and out of your bank. That's
Yeah, yeah,
I think,
100%. And in regards to obviously numbers, like, if you're happy to share, what, since you started in
yeah.
about February, what are you at right now? So we're in May. Where are you right now since February overall?
So I started learning in Feb. So obviously I started thinking about it in FBA in November. I wish I had started then because I'd be ahead now. But I think I got my first sale on March the 12th. I don't know why I remember the date, but I do.
It's a special day. Yeah.
Since then, so I've just recently hit 10K in total revenue. And right now I'm sitting on like 5 to 6K a month with like a
Amazing.
20% margin.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. And that goes to show, look, you put the time in, you put the effort in, it's very,
One,
very, very doable. And obviously now you started with that free material. What are your future plans now? How are you going to progress upwards from here? What are you kind of planning to do?
so 100% going from OA to wholesale, taking that full dive in, because I feel like OA is not very scalable. Yes, it can get you to that certain point, but to go past then, you definitely need to learn the proper wholesale methods. Another thing, having the right mentor, it will definitely help you speed up the process because if you learn yourself, you're not going to get very far. You need that mentor that's where you want to be, that can hold your hand through the process and get you to that goal quickly. Because
Yeah, so obviously you started with £300, made a bit of money, and then you invested into mentoring, isn't it?
yeah,
So would
yeah.
you recommend similar to people to get to a certain point? What would you kind of recommend?
So I'd say for me, I started when I was 16. Like I tried to get a job and I couldn't. If I did have a job and if I did have the money, I would have just started straight away. But a lot of you might not be in that position where you can afford to invest 1 to 2K or even more at the start. So I'd say get a job and then save that bit up. But don't just say like, oh, I'm gonna start when I get a job. Start now with what you have, get that job, build up some more money, and then inject that into the business and you'll see how it's exponential. Like you'll see.
100%, 100%. So it's a thing of taking action as soon as, rather than being like, oh, I will just wait until I get this, until I get this, until I get this, because you're gonna get there eventually. So you might as well start now.
Exactly, 100%. You need to stop being lazy, is what I'd say. And procrastinating is you really like being lazy isn't going to help you in any way. If you know this is what you want to do, you want to take your foot into that game, you might as well just do it now. There's no harm in starting early. You're only going to learn. There's nothing can really go wrong, especially if you do have the right mentor and the
100%, man.
other sellers.
100%. But yeah, man, thank you very, very much, Sani, for joining us.
Pleasure.
And we will keep everyone here updated, hopefully, with your results. Make sure to drop him a follow. What is your Instagram again? It's
SXFBA.
SXFBA. So make sure to drop him a follow, and hopefully you'll see him around. Thank you for joining us, and make sure, guys, you take the inspiration from this and apply it into your own business.
So that's it. End of this course. Remember, now is the time to take action. Now is the time to truly lock in, focus on what I have taught you, and get to where you want to get to. Make sure that if you have got below 1.5K, you are working on your Amazon business till you do. And those of you that do have, hopefully you've learned more about Amazon FBA now and you're ready to take this business seriously. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And I hope to see you all smashing your FBA journeys. Take care.